Catherine Fallis here. I was the 5th woman in the world to become a master sommelier, and I'm doing what I love doing, which is tasting wine. So the wine we're tasting right now is from Teneral Cellars, and it's called 1 in 8 Claret. Claret is a name that comes from the French word for what is known as Bordeaux. Claret actually means lighter red, and you can see from the color here, this is a little bit lighter in color as far as red wines go. And Claret also refers to the fact that it's a Bordeaux blend. So if you're wondering what that is, what is a Bordeaux blend? Typically it's including grapes that are grown in Bordeaux, including Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec. So we're tasting a wine that's made out of 3 of these grapes, and it's also interesting because they're across multi-vintages. So the term non-vintage could be applied here, but let's use the Krug term. Krug Champagne uses multi-vintage, and it sounds more interesting. So let's use multi-vintage. So this wine is a blend of 40% Cabernet Sauvignon, and that's from the 2018 vintage. It's a blend of 45% Cabernet Franc from the 2019 vintage, as well as 15% Merlot from the 2019 vintage. And each of these grapes is like a team player. If you think of the Warriors, what happens when Steph Curry twists his ankle? Is it all over, or do other people step up and kind of fill in their roles? So with the grapes in Bordeaux, Cabernet Sauvignon takes forever to ripen. And it loves Napa Valley because it can grow and ripen and lay back in its lounge chair all the way through sometimes late October. But in Bordeaux, the rain starts August 15th. So Cabernet Sauvignon never gets as ripe as it would like to be in Bordeaux. Not the case here in California, but it's still bringing to the party a kind of a real intense, powerful structure, kind of a grippiness when you've got this on your mouth, on your palate. It makes you kind of do that a little bit. And it brings a beautiful cassis or black currant flavor as well, especially when coming from where this is from Fairplay, which is another Sierra foothills appellation, really high in elevation, 2,000 to 3,000 feet. So you're thinking, above sea level, 2,000 feet, that's pretty substantial. And again, the reason for this is because if you're lower than that, it's probably too hot even for the heat-loving Cabernet Sauvignon. And so being up in elevation gets you access to those nice cooling breezes from the Sierra foothills. And it just helps the grapes kind of get fully ripe, but then relax and get a little bit more ripe and relax instead of being constantly baking in the hot sun through the day and the evening. Certain parts of St. Helena, the hottest part of Napa Valley, at 10 p.m., people still don't open their windows because it's still baking hot outside. So here at 10 p.m., you probably want to put a fleece jacket on, light a fire, get a blanket, and just chill and recoup from the day. So it's 40% Cabernet Sauvignon, and that gives it kind of the heft and the weight. There's, again, 45% Cabernet Franc, one of my absolutely favorite grapes, because Cabernet Franc is more delicate than Cabernet Sauvignon. It's got a little bit more tart red fruit like cherry, as well as a floral aspect. So I find a little bit of pink rose as well. So we're kind of pairing, two opposite, grapes together, and they both kind of blend seamlessly together. But we still have that kind of chewiness and the grippiness from the great Cabernet Sauvignon, as well as from the 18 months and 70% new French oak. So you're getting all of that sensation that could be overwhelming to your palate. So there's 15% of Merlot. Merlot is really fleshy, it's supple, it's soft, it's elegant. It just kind of takes the edge off and rounds out everything nicely. And it also has notes of blueberry, super ripe blueberry, and then a little bit of tobacco. And this combination of all 3, kind of, if you want to say it's a dance crew or a band, they're really in sync. They're really lovely together. This is a kind of wine that for me screams grilled meat or grilled, plant-based meat. even a Beyond Burger on the barbecue grill. Just something lovely with the char. You could also do grilled vegetables with a char. That little bit of char is a nice component to the oak that's in the wine. The wine, again, being aged in new French oak barrels. And so there's a smokiness there as well. The oak itself brings flavors of cedar, a little bit of chocolate truffle, especially the cocoa that's on the outside covering that chocolate nougatine, I think it's called. You were just in Europe. What's inside the chocolate truffle? Not gianduja, but it's, the kind of the pate of chocolate. The ganache, thank you. How could I forget ganache, one of my 4 food groups? But there's also, to me, a little bit of crushed mint leaves. So this wine has got a lot of things going on, but it all works beautifully together. And I think it's a wine that you can have now, especially with something grilled. You can serve it with a cheese course, with some kind of maybe a baked brie, nothing too strange or funky or blue. But you could also have it in your cellar until the holidays. If you think till Thanksgiving or, the end of year holidays, if you can wait that long. But it's another lovely wine. Cheers.